So the UN General Assembly, as they do every year, holds a vote overwhelmingly condemning the U.S. blockade of Cuba, which has been going on 6+ decades at this point. 100 this year, 187 to 2. What are the two countries that voted against it? Of course, the U.S. and Israel. And this campaign of maximum pressure that was started under Trump was continued under the Biden-Harris administration. And this is just another example of how the Trump policies that were enacted under that regime didn't change or weren't altered under the Biden-Harris regime. 187 to 2. 187 to 2. And what have the people of Cuba done to deserve this blockade? Well, they had a socialist revolution that overthrew the U.S.-backed Batista dictatorship in Cuba, and the Cuban people wanted to chart their own path to have their sovereignty back. And they have been paying a massive price since then, and yet, even under this blockade, the gains that they've been able to make for the working people there are tremendous. And again, this is under a blockade. Everybody there has universal education through all levels of university. They have the Latin American School of Medicine, where they take people from all over the world and give them a very high quality medical degrees and education. They take people from Palestine. I heard people from Palestine talk when I was in Cuba last April. They take people from the U.S. because in order to go to medical school in the U.S. and become a doctor or psychiatrist, whatever it may be, you have to go into massive amounts of debt. Not in Cuba. Completely, you can get an MD completely debt-free, PhD completely debt-free. Why is that? Well, Cuba supports the working people. They have a government by and for the working people, while the U.S. is by and for the corporate interest, the bourgeoisie, the capitalist class. And the differences are stark. Cuba also has universal health care. The U.S. doesn't. The life expectancy in Cuba is either on par or slightly above that of the U.S. They have a lower infant mortality rate. The U.S. doesn't have universal health care. There's millions of people without it or underinsured. Tens of thousands of people each year in the U.S. die due to lack of access to health care. People go bankrupt in the U.S. because of medical debt. These are all things that don't exist in the U.S. Cuba's been able to make, again, tremendous gains under the conditions of the blockade. And the blockade has cost that country, forget the exact figure, but it's in the hundreds of billions, if not more, dollars. Again, just another issue where the United States is completely on the wrong side of history, as they really are with anything with regards to, nation sovereignty, social justice, especially when a country is wanting to chart its own path and not be under the thumb of the U.S. empire. But again, they haven't been able to turn back the gains in Cuba under this maximum pressure campaign. Has obviously led to a lot of suffering for the Cuban people, which is just really, really fucked up and cruel on every level. But the U.S. ruling elite, they don't care. They don't care about the working class people in Cuba. They don't care about the working class people in the U.S. or Gaza or Lebanon or Libya or the DPRK, anywhere that's wanting to chart their own path and liberate themselves from U.S. imperialism and oppression. Cuba sí, Blockade no, let Cuba live. Peace.